evening. It is Thursday, November 16th, 2023. This is the North Andover Board of Health, and I officially call this meeting to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from September 28th, 2023. I do have a copy here that has been reviewed and edited, and just looking for approval from the board.
I'll motion to approve.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, minutes approved. The next item agenda we have is a public hearing. So I just need a vote to open the public hearing related to Merrimack College Variance Request Form NABOH, addendum to State Food Code.
I move that we open the meeting as so designated.
And I second it.
Great. Okay.
All right, so I guess that's a 2 out of 3 vote.
Well,
right?
I was going to say, I don't know why I'm doing
All right, Merrimack is supposed to be here. They're probably on their way. Do you want me to just start and just kind of go through what the process is here?
Presented at this point.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
So we passed, the North Andover Board of Health passed back in 2011 a addendum to the State Food Code 105 CMR 590, and this was in relation to food storage facilities. Section 3, Item 1, you guys have a copy of the regulations. Looking for year-round food storage areas must be attached to the principal structure, exterior, or be located within a food distribution center or serving establishment. If attached to principal structure, exterior, the unit must maintain the above stated criteria and apply with local building and health codes and fire codes. Access to storage area cannot be provided internally. Access to the primary distribution center establishment shall have a weatherproof travel path for protection of the food. That's where they're requesting a variance from. The way they have their building set up, and when they built this particular, when they did the renovations, built out the cafe, they did their esports center and their bowling alley and student lounges, they didn't anticipate the popularity of this location. So the kitchen is smaller, the refrigeration storage is smaller, and they found themselves having to bring food from the main dining refrigeration across campus every day. So obviously that doesn't work. We want to obviously have the food closer rather than further away. So they looked at doing exterior refrigeration. With the infrastructure and the building already in place, and they have an external grease trap right there coming off the kitchen, there was no way to put a foundation without disrupting all of the external infrastructure, utilities, compressors, exterior grease trap. So they came up with a plan to do at-grade coolers next to the building. They can't do a foundation to attach it to the building, but they do have a canopy, and they did submit design plans for you to look through the renderings that they have here. You can see the canopy basically goes from the building over the coolers and the walkway. So there's a completely covered path from the building itself, the exterior door, to the main kitchen, to the refrigerator and freezer. So that is covered. They are on footings. They do not have a solid foundation, and they couldn't do any type of 3-season, not temporary, but a lesser of a structure, because once you enclose it, then you have to have sprinklers and fire suppression, which in unheated space doesn't work. They could do a dry system, but that's completely cost prohibitive and out of the question for this particular function. So with it being so close, with there being a covered pathway, a minimal distance for the refrigeration to the entrance to the kitchen, and the entire area is fenced in. So there's going to be a fence around all of the coolers that attaches to the building, so nobody can just get in and out into the coolers. The coolers obviously will be locked, but nobody just walking by can like lock and get in the coolers and steal food. Obviously, that's college students are always hungry, so they will protect those. It's up to the board as to what you want to do. There is a provision to grant variances to this. That is at your discretion. I assume Merrimack would be here, but they're not. But if you have any questions, I can do my best to answer them. I will pass it off to you guys for questions and comments.
No questions.
Questions? Any questions, discussion, anything? Okay. Then I just need a motion to close the public hearing.
I motion to close the public hearing.
And I second it.
Okay, we have consensus to close the public hearing. And now we can vote if you would feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm stating this correctly. I move that we approve the variance request as so stated in the materials.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And there's nobody left to go against. Okay, so the variance request is approved and it is passed. No, they didn't even make it here, and we did it.
It seemed very reasonable. I mean, it's the benefit of reading it in advance. I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward project. They did their homework. I met with them and worked with them as to what I thought the best solutions would be in terms of covering, easy access, fenced in area, all that stuff. So that's actually
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
All the documents were very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
Next thing on the agenda, communications, announcements, and discussions, department updates.
I guess we'll start with the nurse's report, since she's been busy doing clinics for us.
We still have 2 more flu clinics at the senior center, 9:30 to 11:30 on Wednesdays. So the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and the Wednesday after. So far, we have a little over 800 flus done. We went to all the schools, did all the teachers. We hosted our large family clinic, which got close to 300. This week we did our COVID and RSV clinics. A little less numbers than our flu clinics, but RSV numbers were pretty nice. A lot of people did get vaccinated against RSV. And we had about 50 maybe, a little under 50 for COVID.
I had all three. Glutton for punishment.
How's your arm feel?
At the time, a little sore, but that's
Okay.
fine now.
Anything else coming up? You got the,
We're hoping in the spring to host Laternos again to do a shingles clinic. But for now, we're trying to get all the winter respiratory clinics in and everybody vaccinated for the winter.
That sounds great.
nice job. Thank you. And actually, we did a really good number on the flu this year. That was awesome.
Great.
So, good reimbursement for us. So that's kind of nice. And do you want to give an inspector update?
Yep. So we've had an increase in housing complaints, which is expected. A lot of no heat, no hot water calls. So our department's been paying attention to that. We've also we are assigned for approvals for the various licenses that are being renewed this time of year. And there's quite a few licenses being renewed this time of year. So overall, we've been pretty busy with that. That's pretty much it.
Just out of curiosity, is the increase in complaints directly correlated with the number of units? Said another way, are we getting more complaints just because there's a pure number of units, or is there something else that might be causing that?
So the housing code dictates a heating season, so during this time of year, you need to be in compliance with a certain temperature range, so you can only basically apply that citation during this time of year. So if they had a complaint, say it was really, really cold, maybe like early September, it wouldn't apply necessarily, but now we're in that heating, what we call the heating season.
Gotcha. So year over year, it's consistent then? If you compare this year versus the previous year, there's no net increase, or it's roughly the same? That's what I was kind of getting.
Yeah, no.
That's more of what I was getting at.
Unless you've been here for, what, 4 months?
I've only been here
I
for 4 months.
apologize. I want to give you curveballs. I
No,
apologize.
it's okay.
I'm more curious than anything else.
No, housing's always busy.
It's always.
And it does ebb and flow with the seasons. Obviously, when it gets colder out, people live in older units that have less insulation, the windows aren't as good, heating systems aren't as good, we have more issues. The expansion in the newer units typically don't have problems for years.
Yeah, you would expect.
Surprisingly, we did have one in one of the new buildings with an insect infestation, correct? So that was very unusual to have a brand new building with somebody
Yeah.
claiming there was an insect infestation. Where the management hired a pest company, they came out, they inspected, they treated, they took care of it, but that is definitely completely unusual. typically when you do any type of pre-occupancy inspections for rental properties. We don't have that here yet, but we've been talking about it for a while. I know the building commissioner wants to get something passed. You usually don't inspect brand new units for the first 2 to 3 years pre-rental. Only because they're so new, they shouldn't be anything wrong. Granted, never say never, but it's a lot less time consuming to inspect.
And you typically have to have a certificate of occupancy to even get the building inhabited, right?
Yes, yes. So
So,
the building department
yeah.
does that.
And
Yeah.
fire department also goes
Yeah, you-
through as
you-
well,
you
for this
expect,
fire,
yeah.
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 So it's just trading one inspection for another.
Basically.
Yeah. Yep. So other department updates, beaver season trapping is now open. We do trapping by permit between April and November. November, you don't have to have a permit anymore. You can just hire a trapper, they go out and they trap. If you're gonna do any breaching, which is usually what people end up having to do, you just still have to get a permit for breaching, just because we don't wanna flood people out downstream. So we work with the trappers and get that taken care of. And believe it or not, there are a lot of beaver issues in town. They're everywhere. And there's very, very little natural predators left for them. So,
And that wasn't causing the issue by the culvert right next to Taki's on the Boxford line. I live out that way, so it's the construction has been very noticeable.
Broxford Street, way out there, Sherwood
Yeah,
Drive,
yeah.
Sugarcane.
It's close to Taki's.
Okay.
The place out there. I know they were doing something underneath the culvert. I know we had a lot of flooding issues recently, so I didn't know if
Yeah.
it was related to that or
They typically
a
are.
beaver or whatever.
Culverts are a perfect little assist for a beaver, because most of it's already blocked anyway. You just gotta block a hole now.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so beaver complaints are obviously consistent. Beaver season's now open, which is really good. Housing is ongoing. Septic right now is closing out their season. Sorry, I'm just getting my notes up. Septic season closes December 1st for the winter. Granted, if it's 60 degrees out and the system needs to go in for an emergency or a failure, then we'll work with them on getting that done. Typically weather dependent, but our regulations do close it on December 1st, so everybody's trying to get their stuff done now, which is good. Getting before the hard frost sets in is what we are definitely shooting for. Grant updates. I think Annette was going to come tonight. I don't know if she got tied up, but we have our Public Health Excellence Grant. We have our Shared Services Coordinator you know about. We did hire a regional inspector. Her name's Arlene Soto. She just started. She is working remotely and out in the field for all the different communities now. She's being trained, and she's learning the 6 different communities as we speak. Shanine's taking her around a little bit to show her some of the North Andover stuff that we do, and that's going very well. We have made an offer, or we're making an offer to a regional public health nurse. We did get the budget increased from this past year, this upcoming year. We haven't gotten the new funding yet, but DPH has promised it, so we're waiting for that. And we are in the process of writing up a contract with a software company who does inspection software. So we're going to move away from the Stone Age and get away from paper inspection reports and have tablets.
And it'll be all like regional too, so will you have
Yes.
access
Yep.
to, that's great.
Yeah, so it's kind of a big step. I've been trying to get this done for years, but inspection software is not cheap. So by getting this grant for the 6 communities and the number of licenses for all the inspectors, I think it's like $60,000 a year for the licenses. So that's a lot of money. So, and granted, our piece is small, but even increasing our budget by $6,000
Makes sense.
is difficult.
Right.
But we're getting it through the region, we're getting the tablets, we're getting the software, we're getting trainings, we have tech support. I think that'll help us in the long run, obviously, having a little bit more up-to-date regulations at your fingertips, and inspection sheets we can email right to the operator or the owner versus handing a yellow paper copy. So that's pretty good. Let's see, the community health assessment that we worked on, I do have a final draft. I am finalizing it. I've been working on it for the last 2 months. I want to basically get it finalized for the next meeting. get it presented to you guys, get it put on the website, and then distributed through the town, and start implementing some of the strategies that we came up with. So it was a long process.
Good.
We're at the final stages now. I wanted to get it done this fall for this meeting, but it just didn't work out that way. So,
Are there any other public venues? Like, is that something that, like, we should present to the select board or
yes.
something like
Yep.
that?
That is, once I have it drafted and you
Okay.
guys have it, we can get it to the select board, we can put it on the website and kind of go from there. But there's a lot of things I think we should do and a lot of people to bring in to help us implement it all.
Absolutely.
Get people to work for us.
Right. I was gonna say, I don't know if Merrimack have a public health.
They have health sciences and they do
Yeah.
have, they don't have necessarily completely all public health, they do have an MPA program. They have a lot of nurses there, which Carolyn does work with. We have had some interns in our department, but, I mean, they did help us out a little bit in the
Right.
drafting of it, which is good. But I'd like to get their eyes on it, and maybe we can get some of their students do some projects for us.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's
Yeah.
great projects for students who want to get exposure to this type of work.
Yeah.
Or even high school students. It doesn't have to be college students.
High school would work, college would work, graduate would work.
Yeah,
I mean, the more people we have working on this stuff, the better.
absolutely. It's exciting work for people who want to, like, learn to give back to the town and get,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So we have our septic consultant is back under contract, which is good. It's an annual thing, so we just got his contract extended. A new contract written. Every 3 years we have to do an RFP. We did the RFP, re-signed him. Now he'll be back on for 3 years. He's our engineer that does the soil testing for us, and he does the plan reviews, and he does the final construction inspections. We take care of everything else. Our food consultant, Mogen Solutions, has been actively inspecting for us. Their contract is going to be renewed at the end of this month. Their contract expires December 31st. Renew that for another year and keep them on board. Aside from that, things are busy. So, can you think of anything else?
We have 4 Merrimack students a semester,
Wow.
2 every half semester, so they do 5 weeks. They're usually juniors and seniors, so they're ready to participate.
They're responsible.
What did we get? 3,000 home COVID tests that we passed out this last month that weren't expired yet, so those were nice.
Excellent. Can you think of anything else?
No.
That's it for department reports.
Any other questions from the board?
I just want to let you know that the senior center got accredited. It's one of only 120 in the country. So I just want to put that up there. That's it.
That's a nice feat.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We did
Oh.
say we wanted to hold one of our meetings there, so maybe we can do that next year.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
It's a really good idea.
On 114 or where's it located?
It's right, what is that road?
On Sutton.
Sutton Street.
As I'm still
Like,
learning.
I'm like right there.
Right
Right
across
across.
from the airport.
It's really helpful to go like
Across from the
this.
airport is the China Wilson.
Okay, now, in fact, now that you said that, that makes a lot of sense.
I did, Annette and I had applied for, we're gonna do this as a region as well, an FDA grant to get standardized. So to help with inspections and standardizing how we do inspections, there's a whole thing with the FDA that you can do. So I haven't heard back yet, but we did apply for it. And if we get accepted into it, then we start working towards accreditation with the FDA. And with the Public Health Excellence Grant, you have to have certain trainers come in that are certified by the FDA and all that stuff. So that's kind of in the works now, the infancy stages right now, but that's another thing that we're definitely working on.
Well, if there's nothing else for today, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn for the current meeting.
And I'll second it.
We have consensus to adjourn. Meeting is adjourned.
All right.